So length and the number of fabricas.
Yes, and time.
That's an
And time.
interesting connection.
Yes. Okay, look, it's extremely important to define what is happening. Let's say we have an object. This object has a mass. What we say is this mass standing here, inertial situation, it is distracting fabricas. For example, 10 fabricas per second. This is very like just an example. Now, what we say is this. These 10 fabricas from basically outer space, it gets replaced immediately. It gets replaced.
New.
Yes, new, basically, yes. So basically, in general, this is called gravity. What we say is this. We say basically new space, time and reality fabricas coming and replacing it, therefore the gravity happens. Now let's say this object is moving, starts to accelerate or move. What will happen to this? It will pass more fabricas, and therefore this rate will increase. The rate of destruction of fabricas will increase
per kilogram.
per kilogram. And when this rate increases based on basically this model, it is Lorentz transformation. What will happen? The more speed it gets, the more acceleration or more velocity it has, the more fabricas will get destroyed. What will happen when it destroys more fabrica inside only? It will not destroy here or here. It will destroy it inside the object only. Not in front of it, not back. So, what will happen when it destroys more fabricas? Two things will happen. Because fabricas are actually representation of time and space and reality, the time will go slower on the clock in this object. Because let's say by default, this object had the size of 1000 fabricas, a size, it was. And now, it destroys 10 per second by default. Now, when we are moving it, it starts to destroy more, it destroys 20. What will happen? These 1000 fabricas that are inside it all the time, because it happens all the time, it converts to, let's say, 990 fabricas. The same amount will get lost on the time and space of this object. This object will shrink in a smaller space and time. It will push itself to a smaller space and time. What will happen in this case? Because it's the time dilation will happen because actually instead of 1000 inertial situation, 990 fabricas exist at each moment in this object. It will come back to it eventually, but it will destroy again. So all the time, by average, we have just 990 fabricas. It will bring more by universe, but still, again, it gets destroyed.
If speed is constant.
If the speed is constant. So what will happen? This 990 will cause time dilation, and what we see to the object, what we see when we observe the object, this object got shrinked, like length contraction. So this is what we see, because instead of being in 1000 unit of space, instead of being in 1000 unit of space, it is located in 990 unit of space. The same object, but in a smaller number of quantized space. You know, like the space itself shrinked, not the object. Because if I am the object, I will not see I'm shrinking. You see. For me, I cannot understand it. My time is going right. My length is okay. But you, when you see me, you are actually still having 1,000 fabricas representing you because you are staying, you are inertia. But what you see is me located in 990 fabricas. What you see first of all my clock goes slower. Second, you will see the length contraction happens to me. Because I'm located in a smaller space, if we want to say it in layman word. But for me, that is not a smaller space, that's my space. So these things happen. What I see when I observe you, what I see is actually I see your time. This is twin paradox answer. What I see is your time going faster. Therefore, when I come back to you and I stop, when we compare our clocks, my clock is behind you. So the twin paradox has a very clear answer by this. If I accelerate, if I go to gravitational field, if I compare myself to stars and galaxies, like where they are located, this quantized number will talk about what happened to my clock. And when I come back to you and compare the clock, we can understand basically the frame of reference that we are talking about. For me, the time passed slower than you because I destroyed more fabricas. And when I destroyed more fabricas in me, I passed slower time because I destroyed the time. I want to say, if we want to say, I destroyed the time. By moving, I destroyed it. And space, and reality.